Hello, my name is Hearns Laguerre Jr.
And I'm Leslie King.
And we are the co-creators and executive producers for Syracuse Stories. This is the first semester that we are releasing under CitrusTV, a larger platform with an even larger team.
We're excited to kick off our first season, and to start our first episode, we're going to toss it to our reporter, Alex Hallmark, who will introduce us to Officer Joe Shanley.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy an awesome show.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex Hallmark. And for the past month, I've had the absolute pleasure of getting to know an officer that everyone on the Syracuse campus finds friendly. So friendly, in fact, that that's what they call him. This is Officer Joe Shanley, a.k.a. Officer Friendly.
Still in sweatpants at Stella's in the morning, in line for a table, but the locals are swarming. Gotta get my coffee or soon I'll be snoring. Lazy Sundays never get boring, telling Syracuse stories.
How you doing? Good to see you. Hi guys. Enjoy your weekend. It's good to see you guys.
He knows everyone.
Hey, how are you? Smile, like that big smile.
There's a reason why he's called Officer Friendly.
Hey, up over there. Thanks, guys. This is one of the nicest young men on campus right here. This man, I call him the Energizer Bunny. He never stops. He's one of the male.
But how did he get here?
He's always jumping and flipping and stuff. And he's just recovering from it. I'm from the Bronx, New York. I grew up right by on the Grand Concourse, right by Fordham University, and I moved up here in 1991. Growing up in the Bronx, I lived in an apartment house, which I don't know if you know much about that, but there were 60 tenements in it. There was 10 on each floor, so I never knew what it was to live in a nice private house with the white picket fence and the whole thing. So, like any other young adult growing up in New York City, that was a dream of mine. As you can imagine, the Bronx is a very diverse setting, and thank God for that, because I'm an only child. So I had no brothers or sisters or extended family to really rely on. So I had the opportunity to meet people of all different backgrounds, race, religions, genders, and such. So I had that right at my front door, and I still look back on it now and say I think that is a big part of where I am today. We'll just be careful. I'll see you later, maybe. Thanks again. Good to see you in the gym. See you guys.
Oh, always a pleasure.
I'll do it. Thanks, guys. Friends that had big families, and quite a few of them were men. There was no women I knew that were police officers back then. That was really not a prevalent thing. But I got to know them, and I got to know some of the cops from my neighborhood. They were very cordial in regards to being interested in my upbringing, protecting me, and I just thought, for whatever reason, that my long-term vision, it might have been a good career in regards to not just helping people, but becoming a role model in the neighborhoods I work, and having that type of an influence that I really appreciated as a young adult. And hopefully, as life went on, I'd be able to give some of that back, which is a big reason why I'm at this college today. Now, this is what I usually do. I'll stay in this corner because I usually get people going to and fro. My wife's from up here, and I was a police officer prior to that in the city of New Rochelle, which is right outside New York City. It's a smaller, middle-class type of setting, and I went to Iona College. So from that, I went on to the New Rochelle Police Department, which I spent 4.5 great years. But I had the opportunity to move up here because my wife has a bigger family, and with that vision with the children, I thought that would be best. The one thing that I've noticed, and I'm 52 years old now, so I've been doing this job, or law enforcement I should say, for 29 years. The one thing that I have embraced here, and I'm very satisfied with in regards to the community here, is young adults are doing exactly here what I tried to do as a professional many years ago. The challenges I had as a police officer was trying to find a role model for a young adult that it might have been on that street corner, maybe giving into peer pressure or other temptations that were there. And it wasn't necessarily their fault, but just trying to find someone or a group of people to give them that guidance to get them to the next step, to continue their education, to go forward and become successes in their individual neighborhoods. So you can imagine transitioning from a traditional police department, coming to a university where every year you get to meet young adults who have already succeeded, to their academic endeavors and are now on to a next step in their lives and have the opportunity to not just embrace them, but to educate them and be there as a role model. It's been a win-win that I can't even put into words how satisfied I am with my professional career, my 9 years at Syracuse University.
Coming up next, we sit down with Officer Joe's coworkers.
Lazy Sundays never get boring, telling Syracuse stories.
Officer Joe treats everyone like family, something his coworkers can attest to.
The first time I met Joe, I can't remember like the exact date or anything, but just this big, gregarious fellow, very outgoing. You know, he's from the Bronx and all that. So he definitely stood out the first time I met him.
As for me, I met him when we were doing computer stuff, and like CJ said, he's this larger-than-life person physically, but then once you get to know him, he's a larger-than-life personality. And once him and I kind of bonded over being from the Bronx, it was just game over. He was like giving me hugs, holding me, and I was trying to teach him computer stuff. So
trying to figure out what kind of officer a person's going to be, what's there. Once you see that he's totally into the kids and helping the kids out, and I think that's pretty close to what my mentality is. You know, we don't take ourselves too seriously. The job is serious, but we don't take ourselves too seriously.
when you see Joe at a party, I call him the mayor of any event that he's in, because the next thing you're going to see him do is kissing babies, because he's hugging, handshaking everyone, asking how their family are. So once kids see that, and then CJ and I come in and start talking to them just like illegal, it makes it easier for us to do that. It makes it easier for us to do our job, because if there is an incident where the law enforcement side of us has to come out, we can just say, "Hey, Hearns, what are you thinking?" And automatically it shuts it down without us having to engage in a law enforcement manner.
Officer Joe's always aware of how size can be intimidating.
Going back to when I was growing up, I got picked on a lot. And it was in probably what we would consider mid-school here now. And I think a lot of that had to do with being an only child. I was a mama's boy, without a doubt. And I say that not to be judgmental or put a phrase out there, but I was very reliant on my mom and dad. They were both from Ireland, and I think my dad had a second grade education and my mother had a first grade education. So they weren't very stoic in regards to their vision on where to go in life. So they managed to rub two nickels together and try to get me through school and everything. And in mid-school, I remember getting picked on quite a bit, calling a mama's boy, and actually feeling very distant from where I was in regards to where I was going to go. And then I got into high school, and then I started to get bigger. But I look back, and there was a time when, man, I remember feeling very, where am I going? Because I didn't have a brother or sister to say, "Hey, Alex, can you get me out of this hole, buddy?" And being an only child in New York City was a little challenging because everybody had big extended families. Mm-hmm. But then as I got a little older, some of the people that maybe even picked on me a little bit became some of my best friends. And I think at that point in my life, I realized that I didn't like bullies. And I don't mean to say I don't like. I really disrespect people that like to throw their weight around. And I've had to actually offset that in my career, because if you don't know me and you see me walking down a hall, oh my God, here goes a stereotypical 6'5", whatever I weigh, cop coming down the hall, oh my God, I'm in trouble. So you can imagine how that has really resonated in my mind on how I have to become even that much more diligent in saying, "Hey, how you doing? How's everything going?" To remove that perception, which is there. It really is.
Coming up next, Officer Joe takes us on a ride-along.
Lazy Sundays never get boring, telling Syracuse stories.
I used to go get a cup of coffee, have my bagel, whatever I bring for lunch, maybe read a little bit, then I catch up, and then like an hour or so when I usually start visiting the resident walls, just to sit down once again. again to be visible.
Just ask around. Officer Joe's reputation exceeds him.
Every time I see him, always knows who I am, always asks how I'm doing. He always takes time to say hi to everyone.
Joe's a great guy, very friendly.
Joe has been like a second father to me. I actually met Joe when I was a sophomore here, and I think it was 2008. We used to hang out in the Haven Dining Hall, get pasta bar together.
First time I met Officer Joe, it was freshman year on the Mount. Me and my godmother were moving in, and he was really nice. He ended up helping us with our fridge, and he talked to my godmother for a minute. Just had like a really natural conversation with her. He was really cool. And ever since then, like every time I saw him, he was just like, "Hey, tell your mom I said, hey, Officer Joe is the people's officer." He's like President Obama, but in a security campus officer.
He makes people want to be where they are. You know, when you see him coming, you know, you invite seeing him. I mean, you love seeing him because he's that type of person. His personality stands out.
So finish this sentence. Officer Joe is
simple. That doesn't sound good, but I use the word simple because I don't think I do anything magical here. I don't, and I don't want to insult you, but I'm simple.
And I'm sure there are many students on campus who have wonderful things they would like to say to you. Do you have any sort of message to the student body and people that you've come to meet throughout your many years here?
Yeah, the one message I would say, I don't know if words could actually put into how I feel, and I mean that. The 9 years I've been here at the university have been the best professional years in regards to my goals and ambitions. I have far exceeded what I thought I could do here in regards to my own vision. And I just would like to thank them for letting me become part of their lives, become part of a community, and go home and feel really good about myself and my areas of concern professionally. And I just look forward to, God willing, staying in good health and maybe having many more years here. But I really, words can't put into what it means to be a member of DPS here at this university for me. There are no words except that thank you, thank you, thank you. And I greatly appreciate everything that you do for me on a daily basis. And I'm looking forward to, as time goes on, sharing a lot of good memories with a lot of people here.
Thank you for watching this episode of Syracuse Stories. To possibly have your story be shared, go to SyracuseStoriesTV@gmail.com and stay tuned for our next episode.
Still in sweatpants at Stella's in the morning, in line for a table but the locals are swarming. Gotta get my coffee or soon I'll be snoring. Lazy Sundays never get boring, telling Syracuse stories.